So today, basketball season's been kind of slow. Obviously, NBA's been over with for a while, but already getting into breaking down players for the upcoming NBA season and the upcoming college season. And a player that I think is really going to take off this year in the NBA is Tyler Herro out of Kentucky. He looked great in summer league, had a good season at Kentucky, didn't shoot it as well from three as he's going to in the NBA, in my opinion. And a lot of people have really brought up Devin Booker comparisons. I see shades of JJ Redick in his game. He has a ton of ability and is a lot more gifted and versatile than I think he gets credit for. So in this video, we're going to look at some of the areas that he really excels, some places he needs to improve, and kind of look at his summer league video, though limited, and look at some spots that kind of give an example of kind of where he needs to improve. So the first video we're going to look at is just an example of what Tyler Herro can do. So here, we're going to see him on the break. Nice Euro step into a finish. He has a reputation of being a shooter, but is more than capable of getting downhill when he needs to. Here's another example. Pull up, that's a bucket. So in this Euro step, does a good job getting downhill, changing direction. His pace really looked improved from the time he ended at Kentucky and when he got to Summer League. He looked a lot more comfortable, kind of using his patience, trusting his ability. And I think part of that is obviously in the Summer League team, different role, but a lot of that is who he is. He's a talented player who can play off the ball, on the ball, and I think people are going to notice that more in the NBA. And he can do it in a number of ways. And one area where he really showed off in the Summer League was his ability to score in transition. So here we're going to see just one-on-one, let me get to the basket. That's tough. That's more physical than I think he gets credit for. And it's just a simple hesitation. So he's setting up the defender right now. They're playing China in this game. He played well really in all these games in the Summer League. Shot a little bit erratic, but showed flashes like this. Sets him up with a hesitation, then gets two long steps. And what I want to emphasize about the first step he takes, which is very important, he makes a cross, and then watch this left foot right here. He's expanding to get through the defender, but at the same time, he's making sure the guy stays on his back by taking that step. There's no way any defenders, other than maybe the longest guys, are going to be able to then get to the ball, go block this shot without getting a foul. So he gets into their body, finishes, and that's just tough. Now, what a lot of players are going to want to do against Tyler Herro, and what the scouting report is going to be, and what it kind of was in college, is be as physical as you can with him. He's not the strongest player, doesn't have that big of a lower body. What you want to do is, kind of try to get him off balance and then expose him that way. So here we're going to see Kai Bowman, really physical defender out of Boston College, try to do just that. Gets all up in him. Nice behind the back. Whoop! Spins right off him. Gets in the mid-range shot. And he's got to talk after that. This is exactly what he's going to see a lot of early on. He's going to see a lot of guards. So if he's facing smaller guards, they're definitely going to do this. The bigger guards are going to try to be even more physical. Kai Bowman's kind of a hybrid in that. Played DB in high school, could have gone to Alabama, played DB, really physical defender, and I think that's going to be his ticket. But here, when you're playing against an aggressive defender, just like Herro did, get him off you for a second, get their footwork messed up, and then you get to go where you want. And his jump shot is pure, it's cash, and we're going to see that throughout this video. But he can hit from all three levels, runners, floaters, coming off pin down, spacing the floor, all that he's got in the bag. He's a guy that you can just trust to make shots on the break. Right here, one dribble, you step off, that's a three for me. He does a really good job consistently of keeping his spacing on these shots. Whenever half court, full court, doesn't matter. We'll see a couple times where he could have made some different moves off the ball, but generally speaking, does a great job of spacing the floor. And what I saw in the Summer League that I loved is he's not afraid to take and make tough shots. Kentucky, he didn't really have to make as many tough shots, because a lot of the buckets he were getting were off pin downs, off of movement and actions for him. But he can do a lot more off the dribble than I think he was able to show at Kentucky. And here's a prime example of that. Excellent coming off pin downs, gets his feet set very quick. Quick trigger. It's right up and right in. Nothing the defense can do about that. And what you have to appreciate about this, even more so than just a shot, is how he sets that up. So look at how slow of tempo he's got right now. Right now his defender's probably thinking this play's going away, right? They got this action over here, a good play set up, right? They're going to get Duncan Robinson, great shooter coming off a pin down. So that's going to occupy this defender, right? And they both end up going. But what they don't know is that this play's actually set up for Herro on this second action. So Duncan Robinson's going to have a shot here, right? But now we're going to have Maton coming down. And Herro's guy, look, he's not even ready to defend right now. Herro set it up by going slow tempo. Now he's picking up his speed a little bit. Now watch how he comes off the screen. Feet set. Defender does a good job of recovering, right? Doesn't matter though. His feet are ready. Once his feet are set, it's cash. He's looked really good in summer workouts. I know everybody does, but his shot is so easy and he can get it off in so many ways that I think that's going to be an asset from day one. And you know, you always talk to your players about move off the ball, don't stand and wait. And here we're going to see an example of it where Herro doesn't even get the ball, right? So watch this. Missed shot, Maton's going to get it. But pay attention to Herro right here. And these are the small things that turn you in from, you know, an average NBA player to a good NBA starter to being a borderline all-star to being an all-star, is paying attention to detail like this. Maton's going to get it, right? He's got 2-3 guys around him. He's going to have a fourth coming over to help. Watch how Herro gives Maton an angle. Slides right to the corner. If he wanted to make that pass out, Herro would be wide open. That's a very high percentage. I would say 50% shot for Herro right here. Now Maton's going to decide to go up and finish, which is fine. But what you have to appreciate is a guy not just standing and waiting and saying, why didn't you hit me? Going and finding a spot and saying, here I am, getting the line of vision, and then opening himself up for a shot. Now, with that being said, Tyler Herro's not perfect in terms of moving off the ball. There's not really a lot of guys who are. There's always areas to improve and make quicker decisions and anticipate more. So here we're going to see a pick and roll. Herro's off the ball here. You know, this play's not actively involving him. Maton's going to come set a screen. We're going to see none come off, right? So right now, the read right now for the pick and roll players is none is either going to hit Maton here on the roll, or if this is a weak hedge, turn the corner, maybe split the defenders here. But we got to pay attention to what Herro does on this play. Kind of comes up a little bit, Maton's going to get the finish. So you think, all right, that's fine. They got the points. Nothing to see here. But look at what could happen. So right now, because this screen's coming, we know for a fact that they're going to have to hedge a little bit because they weren't doubling. So now none is going to be coming off, and there's going to be that split second for the pocket pass, right? They block off the pocket pass, and he's still going to end up getting it to him, right? Not the most active hands here, but a decent job. But right now, the help is going to be on Herro, and it's going to be down here on the block. If you're in Herro's spot, the importance of getting up here, free throw line extended and above, is critical for getting your guy a wide open shot. This is an assist without even touching the ball. But watch what happens instead. Herro's a little bit slow getting up, so now look where his man's allowed to be. His man can be here to the point where if none makes that skip pass, he can pick it off, but also with this pass coming to Maton, he can help a little bit. So he's going to get it, and he's going to finish. So when that pass comes, now because Herro didn't slide up quicker, his man's allowed to slide down and take away the punch spot, which means now it's one-on-one, potentially trying to score against two guys because he can pretty much guard two by sliding down here. Now Herro is going to be open on that pass. Realistically, this guy would be jumping out there, but that's a tougher pass to make, and you're expecting a big man to have vision like that. What could have happened as an alternative is when this happens right here, Herro's already sliding up, right? You know the pick's coming, sliding up, getting to this spot to where his man is now choosing, right? If he slides up, his man's got to choose, am I going to help on Maton? Which then leaves this skip pass a lot easier right here. The skip pass to the corner is a lot easier to pick off, a lot more difficult for none than it is to make that small, like 10, 15-foot pass right here to Herro if he's out free throw line extended. What that would force him to do is now it's either Maiden coming down on the roll that he has to be absorbed, or Herro's going to get a wide open three that's easy to find, right? More importantly, what that does is if he decides to stay with Herro out here free throw line extended, now it's 2-on-1 instead of 2-on-2. He can kind of slide here. Maiden's man can slide out to Herro. If Herro slides up earlier, now we're going to have Maiden getting the ball here. And now we got a 2-on-1 instead of the 2-on-2 if Herro's already up here. Because this guy can't do both of those things. He wouldn't be able to slide down in time. That'd be a pass for a dunk. Now, granted, Maiden does a good job making an acrobatic finish, but you want to make it as easy as you can for the guys around you. And now, this is an example of Herro doing what he could have done in the last possession and the benefit of it. So you're going to see what I was talking about when I mean the importance of rolling up when you're off the ball in a pick and roll. Now here it's going to be different because as opposed to the screen kind of happening closer to the top of the key, it's going to happen free throw line extended, but it's similar principles. So we're going to see the roll coming. It's going to use it, get to his spot. And now Herro's man is making that decision. He's about to have to say, am I going to help on the roll man? Am I going to stay with Herro? This is close enough to where if he overhelps, Herro's going to be open. But look at Herro's slight movement up and the difference that a couple feet makes in this. Right? By coming up here, now it's at the point where if his man helps, Herro gets a wide open three. And Herro's been cooking them, right? So he says, I'm just going to quick show, but I got to get back out to the shooter. He's got a clip, can't leave him open. A lot of NBA teams are going to play similar. You don't want to leave a shooter like that open. So now because he went up only a couple feet, right? That's a wide open layup. That's the slight difference between the two plays, right? Comes on the screen, couple feet up. That's it, just a couple feet up. Make your guy make a choice. Now there's no help for the roll man, and he gets a finish. Now we didn't have the punch spot guy in that situation, so we didn't have that extra help. But even if we did, that punch spot guy would have been open because Herro moved up. And now the movement is key for Tyler Herro. Like I said, the JJ Redick comparisons to me don't just come because he's a white shooting guard. It comes because he's so good at moving off the ball. He does an excellent job of understanding how to get his feet set, but also understanding how to set up and make cuts and square his body really off of these actions. So here we're going to see he gets the ball, pump fake, defender from China is going to come out, and that's a fall away three. That is an NBA level shot, not just an NBA Summer League shot. That is a high level shot. So right now, this is a closeout you can attack, right? He can go middle, gonna have help there. But he just needed to get him a little off base, right? Just the smallest bit of off balance from the defender is all he needs, right? Defender top foot's gonna come out, doesn't want to give away middle. Still a decent contest, but again, pure shooter, can make tough shots, and is only gonna get better at making those shots. But now the defense knows that, right? So the defense knows you're an excellent shooter. The defense knows you're trying to get behind the three-point line or you're trying to flare out to the mid-range. So with that in mind, the next development is to make those full reads. And I think for a guy who was a teenager, a guy who, didn't necessarily play against All-Americans on a nightly basis in high school or anything like that, but showed at Kentucky he's a real deal. The next step is making those reads, and I think he does a great job at that. So here we're going to see a pass. We're going to see shooter on shooter here. So Duncan Robinson, excellent shooter as well. So the defense has to make some decisions. This situation, it's easier to switch, but we're going to see what Herro does right here coming off the screen. It's just a good decision right here because this is a two-option play for the post player, right? They're catching it at the elbow. The options are Herro can come off, get that layup like he did, or sinks under right, tries to cheat it, Herro can pop out. Really, it's three options because if they get confused on the switch, Duncan Robinson's wide open. What they decide here is, all right, I don't want to leave the shooter. No communication by the defense here. They don't want to leave Duncan Robinson. Not going to be able to recover. Got so tight. Herro got so tight on this screen that this is a wide open layup. And that's just high IQ, being able to read what the defense is doing, understanding that there's no switch, no communication, and taking advantage of it. Now, I think the one area where Herro has gotten knocked the most is as a defender, and I think people sleep on his ability as a playmaker. So we'll get to playmaking at the end. Right now we're going to look at his defense. Defensively, he doesn't have some of the physical gifts that a number of other, guards in the class had. You look at guys like Romeo Langford, even someone like RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish. You got guys who have bigger wingspans, more size on them. Herro's about 6'5", 6'6", but he doesn't have as long as arms, and he's not the most explosive athletically, so he doesn't have as much margin for error. So effort has to be key for him. And at Kentucky, he showed he was a better defender than, people thought, but he's got to be on all the time. So right here, we're going to see a pass. That's just a simple face cut. Now, you're going to get a block. So at the end of the day, no points on the board. But as a defender, as a guy who's trying to not just find a role on the Heat, but being a leading guy, you have to lead by example as well. So on the Summer League team, best player on the team, right? You have to make sure that this is a sprint back. You can jog back if the guy's on this other side, right? If the ball's where it is and the ball's already been stopped, yeah, maybe you can go at this pace. But when that's your guy right there, you got to be in front of him, because this face cut ruins the entire defense. Now you got guys scrambling if he gets his cut. You should never be face cut in the first place. But here, Herro gets his feet slow, feet stuck in the mud. They make the pass, and lucky for him, he's got help defense because, you got your bigs guy all the way out here. But it's just those small things that Herro's going to have to correct defensively. And here we're going to see again, right? So pass has been made to the wing, and now we got Herro right here about to guard what looks like it's about to be a down screen. So that's probably what he's anticipating here. Then he gets a back cut. Herro's nowhere to be found. It's a wide open layup. You can't lose your guy number one. That doesn't really need to be said. But the footwork getting around screens is going to be difficult in the NBA as opposed to college, because you're going to have guys who are able to do everything off of that screen. So here, it's a flare screen. He's playing it like he thinks it's going to be a down screen. So already, he's going to be at a tough spot to get to his man. But now he sees him pop out and tries to correct himself by getting over. So, I like the effort to say, yeah, let me try to correct my mistake. But at the same time, you have to understand that if that pass is made, you're going to be able to have help to get over, and you could even go under without having that quick release to contest a shot. This is a little bit on the screen defender as well, right? Because he should have seen Herro's in a bad spot, and the cut's coming, and then none should have come over and bumped the cutter. But at the same time, Herro's leaving so much space. And again, communication, as we saw when Herro made his cut in the earlier clip, communication is key. This time there's none. It's a good pass from the out top, and all the help is late. But you got to be on there communicating, right? You got to be talking, saying, I got the screen. The best defenders in the NBA are communicating, and everybody knows that. But yet there's still so many young guys who struggle to have that, kind of vocal impact early on in their career. I think Herro has the capability to do that, and I think he's a natural leader. But you have to be able to make sure that that's going on all the time. And it's not just in the locker room. It's not just on offense. It's got to be on defense too. And what's really important is, on top of just communicating, it's making sure that your teammates know that you are on the right help. And it's the smallest details between a guy getting a wide open shot and a guy getting a contested shot. And if your guy gets beat, making sure he can come back to help. So here we're going to see Orlando has the ball on the break. And now they're going to make a pass, right? And we see Herro's are over here on the help side. It's a pass, wide open layup. These are always tough ones as a defender to decide on, because it's, do I go to the shooter in the corner or do I help over? In this situation, I'm in the mindset of, you got to stop a wide open dunk. Unless you got a Steph Curry out there who's been cooking you, you got to stop a wide open dunk. you got to stunt harder than this, because this was not enough to make Emil Jefferson, or the point guard think that they have to go somewhere else with it. Herro didn't even get a foot in the paint at this point. And as a result, Emil Jefferson's going to get a wide open layup. And that's just something you don't want to see and really can't happen. But again, it is a case-by-case basis. And what I loved about this is later in that same quarter, in the same game. Herro's in a similar spot, right? And we're going to see another pick and roll, a little bit different location. That one was more on the break. Screen's coming, Emil Jefferson's rolling again, right? So we already see big defenders behind. Duncan Robinson's not really going to be giving the help here because it looks like there's going to be another screen. So Herro's in the same spot, same shooter in the corner. But look at the difference here. So they have the lob right now. If Herro stayed where he was, post defender stayed where he was, Emil Jefferson's going to have the lob. He killed them this game. But look at the difference. Now we see a foot in the paint. By making that type of stunt, you're forcing the defender to at least recognize, or the offensive player to at least recognize, yeah, there's going to be help there. And Big did a much better job of getting back to kind of shade that passing lane. But Herro's help is at the point where, yeah, I'm leaving the shooter for a second. But if he makes that skip pass, I can recover. Now they are going to end up getting an attack. He's going to stunt a little bit now. And now this situation, so this is really two defensive possessions of IQ in a row. He's going to stunt, but in this situation, you don't want to leave the corner on a ball side drive. So he's going to stunt a little bit and then get back to his guy, which is actually preferable. And then his big is going to come over here. Almost took a charge, but didn't. But that's a good defensive possession for Tyler Herro because he stunted, got out, made sure there was no lob, and then when the drive comes right here, again, you don't want to leave the ball side corner. Quick stunt, let me get back out. Now, granted, he didn't take a good angle because the guy was still open for three, right? You want to still see the defender. But in principle, that's a much better defensive possession for Tyler Herro. And it's got to be, like I said, it's got to be an effort thing all the time for him because Tyler is a capable defender, and I've seen it stretches where he was the best perimeter defender in Kentucky, and that's with guys like Keldon Johnson on the team. Ashton Hagans was the best on-ball guy, but when it came to wings, Tyler Herro sometimes had the toughest matchups. I saw him lock up Fletcher McGee at Wofford, and he was taking on tough matchups all year, so it's not that he can't guard, but the effort's got to be there. So here we're going to see slow getting back, and then tough lob, but the lob should have never been available, right? Coming down, all right, who do you got? You got Bowman. Well, looking at the numbers, as we'll see when it gets down further, there's nobody on him right now. And I think Herro recognizes that. So that's why I want to see that extra burst. Because look, this is half speed, not sprinting back, right? You got a guy running the wing. That's a layup right there. If you got a guy with vision, that's a layup. Kind of goes half speed, then sees him point up for the lob, and then tries to sprint. Kind of slows up, and then gives up the lob. You got to be making sure that full speed is there all the time until you're back in position. You get behind, really in any situation in the game, you got to have your foot on the gas. You can't just be going half speed. Summer League, first quarter, you're probably thinking nothing to worry about. But when you have the potential to be as great as Tyler Herro does, you got to be great all the time. And I'm not too worried about Herro defensively because he is a smart defender and he does typically compete pretty well. There's going to be guys who are going to be physical with him. Physicality might be an issue for his first couple years in the league, but he's not going to be a liability on that side of the ball at all. Another area where people kind of sleep on him is as a playmaker and kind of making decisions with the ball in his hands. And I think the Heat used him well as a point guard in the Summer League to kind of show that off. So here we're going to see, coming off a screen, great ball movement. It's a great lob. There was decisions like this all Summer League. This was not just a couple-time thing. I'm going to show you plenty of clips, but right here, that's a shot he can make. If he takes that three, that's a good shot to me. But look what he decides to do. He uses his hesitation dribble so well all the time. He does a good job of having that hang dribble where he can make the cross if he needs to. But what it also does is the defense has to stop for a second and think. Because he can pull up off it, get to the rim as we'll see, step back, hit a three, or he can do this, right? So the hesitation gets some logic up on him, and now we're going to have Mayton wide open for the lob. But in terms of the actual pick and roll game, not just the off-ball screens, which he uses well, but the pick and roll game in general, he can really throw a lot at you. And here we're going to see Bowman on him again, as we saw earlier. He hit him with that behind-the-back spin earlier. We're going to see screen coming again, right? So right now the screen looks like it's going to be kind of flat. Hero's kind of going to be able to decide. It's going to end up being on the left, right? It's going to reject it. Patience again. I got size over you. Bowman's about 6 foot. Let me just get right up over the defense and get that shot in. That's a tough shot too. These are the type of shots that I saw Tyler Herro make, and I did see shades of Devin Booker, because the ability to just take that small little step back and just elevate, and the shot's still the same form, still pure, rotation still on, like A1. To see that is really impressive, and to me is why I look at Tyler Herro as someone we're going to look at as a steal where he got selected. He's a guy who is easily one of the top 10 players in this draft, and he showed it with shots like this. But, all right, we know we can shoot it. We know we can shoot it off the screen. Got to take that away, right? He's made plenty of mid-range shots, plenty of threes off the bounce. Take that away, make him get to the rim. All right, that's fine. Here we're going to see him. Don't come over it, right? You got principles defensively. I'm guessing they're asking him to make him use the screen here just because to stay with his right hand. 2 steps, it's a free throw line runner. I don't know if people understand how difficult of a shot that is. The amount of touch that you need to have to get the shot, and we talked about his 2 steps earlier against China, how he really covers ground when he gathers. That's a free throw line runner. That is a tough shot. There's not a lot of guys in the NBA who can hit that, but he does a good job of utilizing his strides to get as close to the basket as he can on that, and then he just has great touch. And that's a shot as a shooter. You look at the best shooters in the NBA, you look at Steph Curry's, you look at JJ Redick's, even to an extent you look at a guy like Bradley Beal. Those guys can not only make those shots coming off, make the jump shots, really stretch the court that way, but when they come off and you're forcing them to get to the rim, they can hit runners really from anywhere. And that's something that Tyler Herro already can do. And it's really just every way that you think you can get scored on in the pick and roll, Tyler Herro can do that. So we saw the runner, we saw the mid-range. Now we're going to see, all right, here we force a switch. This is a matchup the Lakers should have been calling help on. So we're going to see slight hesitation. Yeah, let me step back real quick. Left-handed step back. They should have called the help immediately. See him set him up with hesitation again. I emphasize that because as someone who is not an overly explosive athlete, he has a good first step, and he's super crafty around the rim, more athletic than I think people know. But that hesitation is huge because you get the defender to step off. It's a big. He's already worried about getting beat. Quick release, quick step back. That's cash. He is honestly a problem in so many areas, but I think people want to just label him as a shooter because it's an easy kind of label to understand. Like, oh, this guy can shoot it. Cool. The Heat just drafted a guy who can make some outside shots. But no, he can be kind of a combo forward and in certain situations a point guard in the right lineups. And he played point guard in high school. Sometimes had to bring it up at Kentucky. Right here we're going to see an example of the vision. That's just great vision right there. You see Mayton cut right across his face, and we see the patience, right? That's tight defense in the corner right now against length. Hesitation again. So right now, this is a shot a lot of young players are just going to pull up, and that's a shot I've seen him make time and time again. If Tyler Herro takes that shot, no complaints, right? Elevate over. It's going to be a tough contest against a longer defender. Going to have to maybe hit a runner here. A lot of young guys are taking that shot because if we go back and look how off balance, he has a defender off balance, right? Off the hesitation. He could pull that up. But the vision to see Maiden underneath the basket and see that his defender has no idea where he's at is something that can't be taken for granted. It's a great pass leading to easy shot. When you're going to have guys like Bam Adebayo down there, they're going to have Myers Leonard now. You got James Johnson still on the team. They're going to have guys who are going to be able to finish those type of shots off lobs, off of dump-offs in the punch spot. And to have a guy like that who can make shots but also set everyone up, it's really an important asset to have. Here we're going to see pick and roll game again. This is one of the more impressive plays I've seen from Herro in all of Summer League for a number of reasons. So we're going to see the screen's going to come, or this is going to be a handoff actually, but then it's going to be a screen. So a handoff into a screen, right? That's a shot he can make. Before we go into what happens later in the play, watch that slight hesitation that he makes right off the bat when he gets his catch. Right there. That step back gets this defender thinking he might go back and slows up his feet. Why is that important? Because now when he makes his move, the defender's already in catch-up mode. And then a no-look lob. That's an excellent pass. So we see right here, right, slight hesitation, good screen right there to get the defender off him. But now he's got the defender on his back. So now this help has to come. You don't really see it here. The help has to come from the post. Doesn't give it away with his eyes that he's going back there. If we back it up a little bit, he's got Mayo over here to pass to. And the defender could realistically believe that, right? So he makes this defender here doesn't know. Mayo's not really open, but because he's looking over here at him, that lob pass is wide open. No help. That's just an excellent pass. That's why I say Tyler Herro is a guy who can play point guard. I think he's more of a combo guard than just a true two guard if you look at his skill set. Passes like that aren't that easy to make. And those are NBA level looks. And we're going to see one last example here. And this is Herro acting as a point guard. We're going to see a high ball screen coming right here. Comes off it. And now we're in a similar situation. Right now, Duncan Robinson is in kind of a strange spot. Kind of tough as the ball handler in the pick and roll situation to decide what you want to do here. But he did a good job of getting the defender on his back. And then there it is again. I keep going back to this hesitation because the move is so effective for him. He does a great job of, some guys will hesitate and then you know they're coming back to a cross, or they'll hesitate, stop, then go. He gets right off the hesitation and right into his move. Doesn't even put the foot down, and then that's just a crafty one-handed finish off foot. And these are the type of plays, again, when you can, right, you can make this jump shot, right? You can make the jump shot there. You can make a pull-up there. Defense doesn't come. He's still on your back. I can get all the way to the rim. Tyler Herro has so many offensive skills, and he is a competitive defender. But I want to emphasize how complete of an offensive player he is. And that's not just shooting the ball or getting to his mid-range. That's as a guy who can get into the lane, float balls up, has good touch, good arc on his floater as well. Excellent free throw shooter, was around 94% at Kentucky. And that's why I don't worry about him shooting around 35, 36%, because his shot is so pure. Saw it in Summer League, even though the percentages weren't there. I think most people who know the game can look at Tyler Herro and say, this kid has a chance to be special. And I can't wait to see it. I think he's going to be a big part of Miami's plans in the future. And I think breaking down a film like this is important to kind of look at the details of what players have to offer. And I think a big part of development is kind of looking at the small things, looking at the small areas, and kind of getting an extra set of eyes on them to see, you know, this is what we can do to improve. And when you look at a guy like Tyler Herro, I guarantee he's doing this, going over tape, seeing where he can get better in the gym, you know, and getting to the point where he could be the starting shooting guard day one for the Miami Heat.